Whenever you add a field to a pivot table's column area or row area, you change the pivot table structure by adding a level of detail. But suppose you have a great pivot table layout and want to filter the pivot table using the values in a field that doesn't appear in that arrangement. In that case, you can use a filter field. I'll demonstrate how to use filter fields in this movie. My sample file is filterfield 0308. You can find it in the Chapter 3 folder of your exercise files collection. In this pivot table, I have total sales by date of purchase, and I currently have it displayed by quarter for the years 2017 and 2018. Let's say that I want to limit my sales by category, but I don't have room to add a slicer, or I don't want to create filters using row labels. To create that filter, I can drag the field that I want from the Pivot Table Fields task pane to the filters area. In this case, we'll make it category. So I'll drag category to the filters area. And you can see that it appears above the pivot table in cell A1, and the filter arrow appears in B1. If I click the filter fields filter arrow, then I see that I can select individual items. So let's say that I click batteries and click OK. Then I see my sales just for batteries. You can see the value here. Now let's say that I want to select multiple items. To do that, I can check the Select Multiple Items box. Batteries is still checked, and I'll also check landscape lighting and click OK. And now I have multiple items and all the values shown below. If I want to clear that filter, I can click the filter arrow again and click all so that I have all the boxes checked, click OK, and I'm done. If you want, you can add multiple fields to the filters area. For example, you could filter by both category and state. So I'll drag state down below category, and you can see that I now have two filter fields. And that's okay, but it can be dangerous. I'll drag state away so that it's no longer in the filter area. And here's the cool thing that you can do with a pivot table if you haven't added that pivot table to your data model. And that is to create a separate pivot table for each of the values in your filter field. So here we have category, and if I click that, you see that we have batteries, grid tie inverters, landscape lighting, light bulb, solar panels, and wind harvester. Let's say that I want to create a separate pivot table for each of those items. I'll click Cancel. To do that, click any cell within the pivot table, then go to the Analyze tab on the ribbon. Click the Pivot Table Options buttons down arrow, and then click Show Report Filter Pages. Report filters is an old name for filter fields. So click that, and then show all report filter pages of category. If you had multiple fields such as category and state, then what Excel would do is create a separate worksheet for every combination. So we have 6 categories and 51 states if you include the District of Columbia. So that would be 306 worksheets. So creating report filter pages works best when you have only a few items in the field. Right now I have category with 6, so I'll click OK. And you can see that I have new worksheets for each of those items in alphabetical order. So I have batteries, grid tie inverters, landscape lighting, and so on. Filtering pivot tables using fields in the filters area is a powerful capability. Not only can you limit the data that appears in your pivot table without changing its structure, you can create separate worksheets for each value in the filter field.